So last week, policymakers sat down with cryptocurrency executives from across crypto, both discussed the current state of crypto, as well as the future potential and roadblocks associated with allowing cryptocurrency to blossom. So going into this, I was curious about what the overall temperature was when it comes to regulation. So I went ahead and put together my top 5 takeaways from that conference and things I think you need to know if you're a cryptocurrency holder. So this meeting took place on December 8th at Capitol Hill and was led by Maxine Waters, the House Chair of the Financial Services Committee. From the crypto space, we had Brian Brooks from BitFury, Alesia Jeanne-Haas from Coinbase, Jeremy Allaire from Circle, Samuel Bankman-Fried from FTX, Charles Cascarilla from Paxos, and then finally Denelle Dixon from Stellar. And the discussed topics covered stablecoins, fintech innovation within the United States, regulation, taxes, Bitcoin ETF, Web3, NFTs, and just about everything else underneath the crypto sphere. And that brings me to takeaway number 1. Policymakers seem to come to this meeting prepared to have a real conversation and really open up their minds and understanding of the cryptocurrency space as a whole. Now, it seemed that legislators had a dual fear. On one hand, they were afraid of over-regulating the budding cryptocurrency market because that would stifle US innovation within financial technology. But on the other hand, they were also worried about protecting investors, as well as the malicious uses of cryptocurrency for scams and malware. So balancing those two is going to be a major theme for cryptocurrency regulation, I think, as we move forward. Now that brings me to point number 2. The overhaul of the US financial system is already happening. No longer do we need to have these unnecessary intermediaries to facilitate payment who take a percentage of every single transaction that they process. When you look across the globe, anytime someone uses the US dollar as a currency to buy and sell something, these intermediaries are taking a little piece every single time. And there's technology in place today that can eliminate that entire infrastructure, creating more security and more robustness when it comes to a safe place to process your payment transactions. Not to mention with crypto, you have the ability to provide banking solutions to just about anybody who has a cell phone. Whereas there's tons of folks who are blocked out from using traditional banking today because they don't meet the criteria to open a bank account. Layer in the fact that younger generations feel just as comfortable sending and receiving money as they do sending and receiving a text. And the general consensus is that this is something that's going to happen, that this is going to be innovated and updated, just a question of when. So finally, both regulators and cryptocurrency leaders came together and admitted that there is a need for additional regulation. If anything, just for clarity around cryptocurrency innovators to know what the guardrails are that they have to stay within. Not to mention taxation, as well as keeping individual investors safe from scams and hacks. Now, as much as regulation flies in the face of the traditional purpose of cryptocurrency, I think this is a necessary evil in order to have cryptocurrency really hit mainstream and take off. Now that brings me to point number 3, and that is stablecoins and central bank digital currency. Again, there was an open conversation about the pros and cons of a central authority operating their own central bank digital currency. The cons being limited innovation and overregulation, which is typical for government entities, with the pros being that the US government backing a digital currency is just going to provide it a tremendous amount of confidence when it comes to global partners utilizing it. And on the other side of that, it solidifies the US's role in having the reserve currency for the world. Now, of course, there wouldn't be a conversation about stablecoins without bringing up Tether and their backing of their reserves with cash, the legitimacy of what they've reported, as well as the overall larger ramifications if something like a Tether were to falter or fall. What would that do to the cryptocurrency space as well as the overall US financial market? And that conversation on stablecoins wrapped up with the general consensus among all participants that regulation is required on reporting what your cash reserves are behind your stablecoin. Now this brings me to my takeaway number 4, the Bitcoin ETF. So policymakers turned and they asked these cryptocurrency experts, or what can we do to help support fintech innovation in the United States and crypto? And the resounding answer from the panel was to allow more and more participants into crypto. And the easiest, fastest way to do that, that'd be very, very substantial for just about anybody who owns Bitcoin, is to finally approve the Bitcoin ETF. And cryptocurrency leaders didn't miss the opportunity to hammer home the point that Bitcoin ETFs have been opened up in our neighbor to the north, Canada, as well as in the EU, and not here in the United States, which is typically seen as the innovation hub for financial technology. And that brings me to my takeaway number 5, that the next evolution of the internet is here. in Web 3.0. Multiple times throughout this meeting, policymakers brought up the fact that they're seeing NFTs, gaming, tokenized real estate, digital identities, all ushering in the next stage of the internet in what's called Web 3.0. With a great comparison made in the meeting from a crypto expert in that Web 1 is that walled garden, right? It's where you used to log into AOL and you saw AOL News or Yahoo News. Now in Web 2.0, that's where you and I can read and write our own content, but it's only monetized by a small select few companies. And with Web 3.0, that's our ability to actually own part of the network ourselves. We no longer have to have that intermediary of Google or Amazon to go ahead and reward us for having content. And that leads me to my interesting tidbits or random thoughts from watching this 4.5-hour meeting. Coinbase had mentioned that they're in the process of white labeling, so creating a generic product that they're then going to market to regional banks, community banks, to enable them to process cryptocurrency investing and payments for their users. Now, I haven't heard of anything like that before, but certainly if cryptocurrency is expanded out into traditional banking and everyone begins to purchase in or want to invest in, that has to deem really, really well for all of us current cryptocurrency holders. And then I was generally shocked and surprised to hear policymakers talk about the metaverse, NFTs, gaming, again, those tokenized IDs and the ability to tokenize real estate investments really added an air of legitimacy to these innovations coming to fruition, which actually sparked an idea in me to sit down and kind of create a curated list of my top 5 projects across each of those categories. So if you'd like to see those videos upcoming, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Also, make sure you like the video, because like the video is anagram for video files, which is how apt since we're watching this on YouTube. Here, I honestly feel this was a watershed moment for cryptocurrency. Never before have we seen this type of open conversation and dialogue between cryptocurrency experts and policymakers, discussing the real issues on both sides and what they can do to work together to solve those, to allow the US to continue to be an innovator when it comes to this space, provide banking to those individuals who don't have access to it, cut out some of the middlemen and save money all along those financial payment workflows. And then finally, the innovations that are coming from Web 3.0 with gaming, NFTs, metaverse, all that stuff. Like, it really solidified the fact that we're not crazy, that cryptocurrency is here to stay. And it just goes to prove that you and I are participating in the innovation of the internet right this second. And this isn't a fad. This isn't something that's gonna be a hype train that goes away. That cryptocurrency is here to stay. So my name is Ryan. This is No Autopilot. I post every Monday and Fridays and sometimes Wednesdays if I'm organized enough and have enough energy. And in this channel, I'm aiming to attain financial freedom strictly using crypto. I'm trying to break free of having to report to that 9-to-5 job, having to report to a manager that you just disdain. And if you want to be a part of my journey and watch me succeed and likely fail a whole bunch, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.